Hello, my name is Shayma Hassan. I'm a master's student at St. John University. Today, I'm going to present my last assignment for communication in science. I'm going to talk about how science could benefit from diversity, equity, and inclusion. Actually, if I need to talk first about abstract of my poster, I will talk about how scientists or people at different research fields could get benefit from diversity, meaning that how people in US could share their experience with people in India or in Egypt, in Middle East or on other places. This would result in having lots of knowledge and lots of information from different aspects. First of all, if I would talk about my abstract, I would say that variety and diversity upgrades development in biomedical science, and it identifies with novel discoveries and therapies of assorted population. This is very obvious in case of vaccine. Now we are trying to design vaccines that could deal with lots of strains of COVID, strains from India, strains from Brazil, strains at US. So here the integration in the biomedical process and diversity showed a very potent and very important output, which is related to the design of different vaccines and also their contribution that might differ from people living in India or in China than other people living in Egypt, US, or other places. Also, I would present the difficulties opening and ideas for how to get benefits from diversity. I would talk about transgender problems and how till now some people who undergo transgender operations, or they decided to be either a lesbian or gay or even binary person, still till now they are facing some bias and some harassment, even with your with eyesight, or some borders which could be hidden, but they might carry a lot of meanings related to them. Actually, I was a witness for some cases of transgender, as I was used to work in some laboratory as a laboratory scientist or technician. Some people it was necessary for them to convert from being male or female to the other side. But the point that they have to leave their places, they have to go far away. Even sometimes they leave Alexandria and go to live in Cairo and in any other county. So they must be shy of being transgender persons, although it's very normal for them. It's either their decision or it's a medical case. And also I would talk about what science could get from diversity, and also the contribution of women in science as a researcher or scientist. I would show some statistics from US, and also the improvement in the contribution of female in science since 1955 till 2020, and is it sufficient or not? I would talk also about my experience. I used to visit some countries for the sake of science and exchange knowledge, and how that would reflect my experience, my practical experience, how I was able to make lots of friends, and also till now I'm still in good communication for them. So if there is any opportunity for a good research or a good project, we can exchange knowledge. First of all, if we have to talk about the transgender, it seems to have a problem with being scientists. Some people don't accept transgender scientists, either professor or researcher, or even what we can say, a tutor. It seems till now there might be some problems for transgender people to be a scientist. The most destructive thing we can do is silence trans stories. That was said by Becky Hess, which is a programmer and manager at Mylands and County Public Library, who identifies as being a trans librarian. Till now, there might be some stories related to harassment of the transgender people, although they might live between us and we don't even know that they are transgender people. But once some people discover that he or she are transgender or even a binary person, their attitude towards them will change. You don't know what are the real cases. It might be, at the end, it's their decision. might be that they feel bitter, it might be that they might have some genetic disorder. You don't have the right to judge people as long as they are not enforcing you to be a transgender or binary or whatever, lesbian or gay. You don't have the right to judge them or to take actions against them. If we talk about the most transgender hate crimes are committed, unfortunately, by young people, meaning that people who are from the same age or at young age carry the responsibility to get rid of transgender people, and actually they don't have the rights for that. If we would talk about this as the victims and those are the suspects, and most of them are people between the ages of 20 to 29 and also 40 to 49, while the suspected one are among people between what we can say teenager until 29. So here's the victims, most of them are at young ages and also at the end of 40s, and while the suspected or the criminal seem to be at very young age. If we also talk about the violence against transgender Indians, and actually transgender people in India seem to have lots of problem, maybe related to the culture or some creeds or some beliefs related to either being a Christian, Muslim, Hindu. They might not accept the idea of being a transgender. And here is the statistics about the transgender people suffering or the violence against transgender people in India. This is here emotional violence, physical violence, and this is sexual violence. It's mostly about 60% among educated and non-educated. For sure, it's higher among non-educated persons, and it's very low related to educated person, but actually still it's a very high percentage. It's almost quarter of them represent the violence against transgender. If we talk about diversity and benefits in science, for sure, building a network is very, very important, especially when you are dealing with topics that seem to be very hot topics, like what we can say virology, like now genetic engineering, and how we could design a vaccine against certain strains of COVID, molecular biology. Any field of science is being fortified when there is a strong network. Here show that people from African America, maybe people from England, India, people from Middle East, teenager, such network would fortify and improve the science or the outcome of your research. Also, diversity makes difference, and this would facilitate the specialization, meaning that I would talk to you at a common point. I would gain from your knowledge, and also I could transfer to you some information that might be novel or might be not clear for you. Also, diversity what we can encourage problem solving. Suppose that we have a problem in our lab and I consult people in US or in India or in China or anywhere who face the same problem. And even though if the problem is novel for us, but we are working on the same track, so diversity here and cooperation would facilitate the problem solving. And for sure, it would balance bias. If we are from different nations, from different races in the same lab, and we are facing the same problem, for sure that would enforce us or would allow to reduce the bias against the lab members. Also, if we talk about equity, diversity would reduce and would maintain equity content, inclusive science, diverse community, and also inclusive publishing industry. You can find a paper where people from East and people from West are dealing with each other, and they might have equal contribution, or they might they might do or perform the same experiments. Here, diversity would maintain and would what we can say improve the equity and biases among different lab members. Also, the super diversity, we are all defined by so many different things. We share some important personal aspects with people who might seem other to us. So if I'm look foreigner for somebody, for sure he or she might also look different to me. So by science, we would be able to minimize the gaps between our nations and our cultures. So we would be able to approach more. We wouldn't be able, we have to leave our differences or our conflict area away and be focused and be integrated in our main scope or target. Also, I will talk about gender equality, meaning that still now there are no room for women scientists. Some people everywhere, actually not in the Middle East only, I attended lots of workshops about equity and gender equity in science. Now in Mexico, in Brazil, even in US still now, some people thought that because she is a female, she don't have the rights to be scientist or to have a group or to be a project investigator or project manager, and it's better for her to be at home. Actually, this is completely unfair because she as a person, she has the whole right to select and to decide her fate, even if she's a mother, she is a wife, if she is taking care for her parents or her children as well. Nobody has a right to judge her or to direct her to how she would select her lifestyle. If we talk about the contribution of female scientists, actually this is in US, which is very frustrating when you found that also in people of National Health Institute, the number of labs is 57 labs, and only the number of labs run by women are 13, which is 23. Also for Boston Children Hospital, about 30%. Lots Hospital for Sick Children, Research Institute, Surgery, no one exceeds the 50%, meaning that this is actually a big discrimination against women and scientists. But by any means, the situation now in 2021 or 2022 is better than 1955. This is a statistical study about the contribution of women in science in 1955, meaning that here is the female contribution, this is the male contribution, meaning that it's almost the double of the female contribution. Here is about 21 and this is 40 or 39. So meaning that females were not allowed to contribute now. But according to the statistics done at 2020, that the contribution increased by 4.1. But still, it's not that satisfying for the females. Moreover, we can, if I talk about my personal experience, I had a very good experience as I traveled to some countries where I have lots of colleagues and lots of projects. I traveled to India. I lived in India for about 1 year, where I joined some research projects about genetic engineering. Also, I traveled to China for some time for about summer school, and I traveled to Mexico for a workshop about 15 days, 2 weeks, and also here in Europe. All that experience would end in fortifying your personal experience. If you have a problem, you can talk to someone in Mexico, for instance, in Peru, in India, which is far apart. All days, no one could imagine that this integration could be happen, that you are building bridges between nations and minimizing gaps between nations by exchanging the notions, and you would be able to fortify your science knowledge and personal experience while you are sitting in your country and on your place through networking. This is what we can say. This was the day for celebrating with colors. I guess I don't know that I couldn't remember the name. Haywan Day. I don't know. Not the Halloween. This is another celebration. At the end, we can conclude that the gender gap is reduced to from 27.4 to 7.5 to 7.8 in the population, but still we need to pay more attention for the women cooperation or integration in science, and also still more attention is required for transgender cases. At the end, I'd like to thank Professor Laura for her contribution and for her support in course of Bio 249, for all St. John's University staff and officers for giving us or giving me the opportunity to be one of their students, and really that changed my life aspects and enable me to put my knowledge to be someone else. And I would like to thank you, many thanks. And I hope I will be able to meet the course requirement. Many thanks for your kind attention. Bye bye. Salam.